a boat that was called the Freedom Flotilla that was attempting to get much needed humanitarian aid, medicine, food, water into Gaza, has been attacked by Israeli drones. It was attacked the night before, I believe. They were meant to set sail to try to reach Gaza. And this is not the first time that, number one, flotillas, activist organized boats loaded with humanitarian aid have tried to reach Gaza. The most sort of infamous was in 2010, where the Gaza Freedom Flotilla was boarded by the IDF and taken down. Luckily, nobody was hurt, but they were violently boarded to say, absolutely not, you cannot block the siege to Gaza. Because as we know, it's not just this genocide. It's been happening ever since 2007, 8, ever since Hamas came to power, effectively, right? And of course, now people who didn't even vote for Hamas, could not vote for Hamas, weren't born to vote for Hamas, are being punished by Israel and the international community. Let's be real. No aid has been allowed in since the ceasefire was violated and broken by Israel on March 18th. No food. We've seen the images, and yet the casualties are racking up. It is being called a killing field, and that's exactly what's happening. And so these incredible activists attempted to reach Gaza. They did not make a big deal of it, meaning they didn't do a lot of social media campaigns. So we didn't hear about it until it was attacked, in part because they were, I'm assuming, hoping to avoid being attacked. But here is one of the organizers with, she is here, with Greta Thunberg herself explaining what happened. Just take a listen and a look.
The Freedom Flotilla was finally on its way to Gaza. We thought we had overcome bureaucratic sabotage this time around by keeping things quiet. But as a large international coalition, including U.S. boats to Gaza, was ready to board in Malta, in the middle of the night, our humanitarian mission was attacked by 2 drone strikes in international waters off the coast of the island.
Okay, before I continue it, so they were off the coast of Malta, and they were attacked by drone strikes. And here's just some images of what that did, which is freaking terrifying. So it's mostly, I guess it's the hull. This is the moment that it's on fire. Some of the damage to they're calling it the Conscience Flotilla from 2 unprovoked drone attacks. I mean, there's provocation, right? The provocation is, how dare you try to bring necessary food and aid into Gaza? I mean, what was the provocation when the World Central Kitchen was deliberately attacked, when their convoy was deliberately attacked? There's no provocation. The provocation is, how dare you allow people to survive? It's really upsetting. She goes on and rightfully, I think, gets emotional about it.
This boat carried family members of humanitarian activists who were attacked in the Mavi Marmara 15 years ago. They were trying to
So she's talking about 15 years ago. That's the 2010 Mavi Mara flotilla that was attacked. So these are family members of the people who were on that original flotilla.
Complete their loved one's legacy by responding to a call for solidarity with the people of Palestine to break Israel's deadly blockade. But again,
wait, hang on. I completely misspoke, you guys. 9 activists were killed. Please. 9 activists were killed. 8 Turkish nationals, 1 Turkish American, many were wounded. Forgive me for not fully explaining that. And I had forgotten that. But Jesus Christ, call it my own American, exceptionalism, remembering people like Rachel Corrie, and not people like the 9 activists. So 9 activists were killed in 2010 for doing this exact same thing. Forgive me for misstating that. Let's continue.
Again, as the Freedom Flotilla carried desperately needed aid across the Mediterranean, our opponents were loading their weapons. The Freedom Flotilla is an international mission of unarmed civilians and only carrying humanitarian aid.
Attacking a humanitarian mission is a war crime. We need you to demand your government to stop all aid to Israel and demand an end to the illegal siege. We're sending you all love and rage and solidarity from the Mediterranean Sea. Free Palestine.
I love her so much. So that's Greta Thunberg, and an organizer who is explaining the situation. Again, 2 drone strikes hit this Freedom Flotilla called the Conscience. A ship carrying aid in a bid to break Israel's blockade has been hit by drones in international waters off Malta, according to the FFC, the Freedom Flotilla Coalition, the group that organized the mission. They said in a statement on Friday that the vessel, now located 14 nautical miles from Malta, was the target of 2 drone strikes while on its way to Gaza. The ship had been seeking to deliver aid to the besieged enclave, where aid groups warned people are struggling to survive. Armed drones attacked the front of the unarmed civilian vessel twice, causing a fire and substantial breach in the hull. The statement did not directly accuse Israel of carrying out the attack. However, it did demand that Israeli ambassadors must be summoned in answer to violations of international law, including the ongoing blockade and bombing of our civilian vessels in international waters. Nicole Jenis of FFC told Al Jazeera that the attack on the Conscience at 12:23 p.m. local time on Friday morning blew a hole in the vessel and set the engine ablaze. The strike left 30 Turkish and Azeri activists on board, engaged in a frantic effort to bail out water and keep the vessel afloat. The group statement said a vessel from Southern Cyprus had been dispatched after it sent SOS calls. Later on Friday, the Maltese government sent a statement that the fire on the ship had been brought under control. The vessel was being monitored by authorities. It was unclear whether authorities had directly intervened to put out the fire, what has happened to the activists. I think we're going to get more news in terms of any injuries and hopefully not deaths. I assume we would be hearing more if there had been deaths. But again, in 2010, there was the IDF straight up boarded that flotilla and 9 people were killed, according to the UN General Assembly, possibly executed. So if you're just coming up to speed on all of this, as clearly Francesca is refreshing her memory as well, yeah, welcome. Welcome to the hell that is Gaza. Welcome to the hell that it is trying to be an activist, trying to be a humanitarian, trying to deliver necessary food, aid, medical supplies. No, you will be treated like a terrorist. You will be killed. You will be attacked for the crime. What would have happened? What would have happened? I mean, play it out. What would have happened if this food delivery, the aid delivery, had reached Gaza? People eat? People get some medicine? No, you don't understand. The photos, the images, the gratitude, the elation, the embraces, the goodwill. Israel cannot have that. They don't want any of that. The stories. And remember, these are not Palestinians, right? Even though obviously they are attacked, which is always the excuse. Oh, there was a Palestinian with them. I mean, a Hamas member with them. But this is the same government that is barring any international coverage of this genocide and summarily executing and killing any Palestinian journalists that are still left. It's fucking insane. I can't believe. I'm curious to see what happens and whether or not we hear more. I'm assuming we're going to hear more. I'm hoping there were no deaths. But yeah, everybody just look up the Gaza Freedom Flotilla 2010 and a very important history there. What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/bitchuation room. Do it.